You are listening to Level Up Your Gaming Podcast, episode 45, Improving Your Side Stories and Encounters. Today we talk about improving your side stories and encounters. We discuss how to spice up your encounters using noun switching and the Socratic method. We also discuss how to segment your side stories and put conflict at every point. We also apologize for the audio in this episode as it was recorded at the same time as our last episode. We know what went wrong, and for future episodes we do not have these problems. The topic is good regardless, and we hope you enjoy the episode. If you'd like to participate in the discussion or leave us feedback, you can contact us at levelupyourgamingpodcast@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/levelupyourgaming. If you like the content and want to hear more of the show, subscribe and will ensure you don't miss an episode. New episodes come out almost every Wednesday. Also, please review, tell a friend about the podcast, or share with your gaming group. Now sit back and enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Level Up Your Gaming Podcast. My name is Aaron. And once again, joining me in person, his cooks always have internal rivalries, Jared.
You brought that back up again? Why don't you just stab me in the side, you jerk?
It was too good.
Cooks always have internal rivalries. You prick. God, that is just terrible. It was terrible. Like, that was hours of development. Just like, poop lit on fire on someone's doorstep. That's how bad it was.
The best part is that at the end of the game, you were like, oh, by the way, I had this entire internal rivalry thing about, like, the sous chef and how he thought he was going to be the head chef, and you had, like, some other, like, line cook who thought it was going.
It was intricate. It was an intricate of backstabbing.
It was far too detailed. Not enough detail on the actual story, but the side story was deeply intricate.
I mean, shit, if you guys dived into that, you would have spent weeks trying to unravel that fucking web.
Yes. No,
if the objective was to find out who the next cook was, not how were we going to cure the prince of this city.
Burgon's next top chef.
Yeah, had that been the goal, trust me, that game would have been fantastic. Jesus. Oh, God.
It's not your finest moment.
No. Just a PSA, public service announcement. Storytellers, you're not going to hit the mark every time. Just you're not. You're going to miss, and miss big.
Again, but always remember to end your games when that happens.
Always remember to, cleanly end them.
But so if you can't guess already, we are going to be talking about this is actually a topic brought up by our listener, Gary. We brought you up in our last episode, Gary, but we're going to actually handle one of your topics right now, which is improving your encounters and side encounters.
Yes.
So
that's why you brought it up.
That's why I brought it up. So one of the things that Gary asked us was he had an encounter where he was going to have his players escorting a noble from one city to the other city. And he wanted to have the players attacked during the escort. But he didn't want it to just be generic bandits come out and attack you, or thieves come out and attack you. So he asked us, how would you kind of take this and bring it to the other side? And we really kind of gave you a lot of stuff, Gary, but we're going to talk about that right now for the rest of our listeners.
So, one of the key points that or one of the key pieces of advice that we brought up was noun switching. So we took a sample text. Generally, when I create a story, I create what my brother would call an elevator pitch, or a one-liner. Think of it like Die Hard, one man, a tower full of terrorists, Christmas Day. One cop, I guess. There, encompasses the story. Okay, gotcha. Now, elevator pitches are supposed to be quick, and so I'll write like Red Lake might be. The detectives investigate horrific murders committed by a Native American spirit of lore amongst the ruins of a city. There's a great one-line pitch. Now, there's when designing your side stories, remember one, scope. Oh my God, I sound like a project manager. I'm sorry, listeners.
This is what he does for a living, so.
And it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't used to be. I used to be a trainer. 3 years went from trainer to project manager. Don't know how that happened. So what you want to do is look at how big do I want this story to get, because the reason I bring this up is because of the cooks in the kitchen. I had no intent of that being a side story. That was supposed to be a little conversation and trying to figure out whether or not somebody was poisoned. Literally developed a huge side story off of that, involving cooks and backstabbing and who was going to be the next greatest chef or the prince of the city and whatever. And I lost sight of the scope. The scope was to determine whether or not the prince was poisoned. I could have had one NPC in place. I'm the prince's head of security. We have protocols that are put in place where his food is tasted before, yada yada. Talk to Bill down in marketing. I don't know why they have the marketing guy testing the food, but they do. Talk to Bill. Bill will show you that he does not believe that ghosts are haunting him. That was the objective. The objective was for them to gain one piece of information. They could have done it by visiting one NPC that I had developed. Bam, cut off that line. So the scope is like, I want this to last 3 sessions. I want it to last 1 session. Just one. I want one good 7-hour, 8-hour gameplay out of this. Okay, cool. So we're not getting too intricate. Or you might say, I want this to lead a little bit deeper. So I guess I'm getting off track because I was about to talk about noun switching. So take that line. Aaron, you're supposed to keep me on track. Jared?
You were talking about the chefs, Jared. Every time you talk about the chefs, I can't let you stop.
I hate you. Such a jerk. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been friends for over 2 decades. I don't know why.
Sometimes I know how to poke the bear. That's just
how to poke me. God, those chefs sucked. I hate those chefs so much. So noun switching. So for example, we take a noble. A noble needs to be transported to another city. They're attacked by bandits. Take bandits, replace that word. Noun switching. They're attacked by werewolves. Okay, we have definitely changed it up. It's not bandits, it's a freaking werewolf. Now for me, I see werewolves as these hulking beasts that are just absolutely terrifying. Your team might be like, werewolves are kind of lame. Remember, KYP, what's going to interest your players? If it's a werewolf, they're like, oh my god, they would love a werewolf. They haven't dealt with a werewolf since session 0. Okay, not session 0, but session 1. They are intercepted by a vampire. Just keep noun switching until you find something that, remember, falls in line with your players' interests. What's going to go with them? Maybe you have, and I'm going to actually just go back to last week, maybe you have the paladin. They are intercepted by the undead. He needs to smash things with his holy hammer. His holy hammer is really good at the undead. I'm going to make this a spotlight moment. Okay? So he gets the spotlight. The Viking warrior still gets to destroy things. The cleric still gets to put up a protective spell around the noble. So everyone's still staying in the light because it's a good fight. The ranger's going to keep them at bay. Maybe I'll make sure that these zombies can transmit their zombie disease. So the ranger's got to keep them away from the noble to make sure nobody even gets close to him, because he'll freak. Blood can't even get on the carriage, that sort of thing. So it gives everyone in the spotlight, but the spotlight is truly on the cleric and your paladin, because the cleric gets to build the protective circle, and the paladin has his holy hammer that literally, if it touches a zombie, they turn into ash, I guess. I don't know. Something like that. So it's a spotlight moment. So keep switching that verb. Do I want to go for wonderment?
You mean noun?
Noun. Thank you. Give me wonderment. You could switch a verb. They're intercepted by, instead they are met by a giant whale that is floating through the sky. And this whale stops to talk to them. If that's what gets your players going, like the weirdness of the world that you've created, yeah, go for it. But make sure the whale tries to swallow them or something. Remember, always has to be conflict. Whether or not that be verbal conflict, the whale's not going to let you guys pass on this road. Why? Because you are the destined people. What? They have 2 choices now. One, they can go fulfill the whale's quest while taking this noble somewhere. Like, sorry, noble, we have to go get these 3 keys from that tall, creepy tower before the whale will let us pass. If that is what your players are into, awesome. Fire away. If you're just going for something simpler, no, I want combat. I just want a good, solid combat. Replace bandits with knights. Okay, that's something that's totally doable. But as we advised Gary, and Gary, shout out to you, buddy. As we advised Gary, why are these knights attacking the noble? And this amplifies everything. Because now you see the side story starting to bridge out. Do these knights work for a rival noble? Do these knights work for him? Oh my god, his own knights. Maybe that's why he hired these mercenaries to transport him. He's a noble. He should have his own people. Why isn't he using his own people? Why? Because they're aiming to kill him. Because his son is a way better choice. Or maybe his son just spent the right kind of money. You know? Replace those nouns with ones that will illuminate you. That will illuminate your players. So I love the Knights one because it now goes into a story of why he hired mercenaries to transport him instead of his own people. Because assuming he's a noble, he has his own people. Now, the other cool thing that we advised Gary was take the noble and switch some nouns with that. That amplifies your story. I'm not just transporting a noble. I'm transporting a noble who believes himself a living god. What? Yeah, you can't open the character's door because his light will vaporize you. I beg your pardon? Yeah, you can't see him because he's a living god. Oh. So now you've got this mystery, and trust me, you're going to have that rogue. Again, turn it into a spotlight moment. Maybe you've always had that rogue that whenever you tell him there's something behind the door, he needs to know what's behind the door. Aaron and Brian, for example, except they're not rogues.
As long as that door is yellow.
As long as that door is different than other doors.
Why does this carriage door have a yellow door, but all the other carriage doors have red doors?
It's the carriage of the living god, of course. But now Aaron and Brian need to know what's behind that freaking door.
We'll peer in, and we'll get vaporized by the light.
Exactly. Maybe that's part of it. How, so you're planning out your movements. Okay, here's Sector 1. Here's Sector 2. Here's Sector 3, Sector 4. When they get through these areas, each sector has conflict in them. Okay? Because you can't just go with one bandit fight, because although combat can take time, if you are planning a really good combat, shoot, it can take hours. But remember, remember your scope. I've got 8 hours. A good combat can take up to 2-3 hours. What are you going to do, Phil, for the other 5? No, we have to have more conflict. Okay? Let's say, for example, you've got the one player who's playing a kind of a silly type of player. He's like, no, I'm playing a lumberjack. My guy's just a simple peasant. He likes hanging out with the rest of the adventurer group, and he's just a simple lumberjack. Cool. Let's make a tree fall down in the middle of the road. All right, lumberjack. Time to use your skills and actually create the dice pool. Make it a challenge. Your silly character class, I'm actually putting you to task. Now you've got to roll your stamina. Oh, I didn't put anything in stamina. Well, you're a crappy lumberjack.
You're going to be whittling away at this tree for quite a while.
And I don't know, maybe something happens during the tree fall. Maybe an ent comes from the forest. Don't! That's my son! Spotlight moments. Now we got to clear this tree still. But the lumberjack's half tired and you got your whatever. You can add things to it. But remember, each sector has to have its own conflict, because you can't have a sector, and this stinks about journeys. Each sector has to have a conflict. You can't have a sector of nothing happens, because you're just going to skip it. We're skipping to the next conflict. Perhaps you have a small bit of dialogue. The journey through this part of the travels is yada yada.
Yeah, what you may do is you might split into 2 pieces. You might have players talking with the noble in part of the encounter, or part of the journey. So the players are questioning the noble. You're just kind of trotting along, and then you get to the second sector, which is that's the conflict. So dialogue is your first sector, meaning nothing is actually happening, but that's really kind of it's kind of like two stages. It's you're doing this, and before you realize it, you've walked into a deep valley, and now there's a tree blocking your way, and what the hell's going on? And rah, ninjas. Okay.
Blah, one of the things with dialogue sectors, okay, because you want them to talk to the prince, okay? Know your players. Are they going to openly just engage the prince? Or the noble who believes himself a living god? Do you have the curious person who's going to go, like, I knock on the door? If they don't expect them to do it. Have the prince reach out. I need water. Oh my god, the prince is talking to us. What do we do? They didn't give us instructions on whether or not the living god gets water. Does the carriage guy? The carriage guy just looks at you. Okay, where's the water? What kind of water do we? Is there a special way? Because we can't open the door. We can't look at him. Yes, you cannot look at me. And then he delves into engaging the dialogue. Have the prince be prepared for the prince to reach out to them and engage them in dialogue as much as, unless you have that player who's like, dude, I know, Simon is gonna be like, so what's it like being a living god? I've been around for tens of thousands of years. He's got some deep voice. It's gravelly. Oh my god. Just remember that it has to be interesting. Okay, if your answers that are planned out for their questions are lame, it's pretty great being a living god. Don't make this a sector.
Yes.
It has to be interesting.
And again, if you're going to make a dialogue sector, drive curiosity. If you want them to be a second. So again, Jared talked about, do you want simple combat? That's it. Or do you want it to be combat with questions? Do you want to raise questions before the combat, and the combat has questions, and now the questions come from the prince as well? Like, how many questions do you want to come out of this little side thing here? Could the decision of transporting the noble be the main driver to get your story rolling?
Here's another great one that I just thought of. So, if you're planning on dialogue and you want it to be interesting, the prince goes, "Where are you taking me?" What? What? This noble doesn't know where this living god doesn't know where he's going? We got hired by the magister. We never talked to the prince because he's a living god. He doesn't talk to people. His voice apparently will shatter your eardrums. Well, one, my eardrums are still intact, and two, he doesn't know where he's going. Oh, crap. Do we tell him? Well, the magister hired us to take you to city, Aaron.
Kalala.
It's taking you to city of Kalala. Why? Oh, crap, he doesn't know why he's going.
That wasn't on our instructions.
That wasn't on our instruction list. But remember, they need to have the answers. They need to be able to converse, and it has to go somewhere. Everything has to have a goal. The conversation has to have a goal. If you are introducing the living god not knowing where he's going or why he's going there, you have to have the opportunity for your team to go back to the magister and go beat his ass, because the magister was the one who hired the personal guard to kill the king on the road, and that's why they were unavailable to transport him.
It was a coup all along.
It was a coup. And they have to go back and they have to go beat that magister. They have to go spank him. Bad magister. They have to do something. Everything has to have a point. The magister is going a week ahead of time to make preparations. Cool, so he's in Kalala. Isn't that what he said, Kalala? So he's in Kalala. When we get to Kalala, I'm going to get to go beat his ass. Because he tried to kill the living god. Was he a living god? I'm not sure, but, so you're trading out things, and do you see how it grows? It has to grow from you questioning yourself. You are asking yourself questions. Who is going to ambush them? Bandits. Flip, flip. Knights. Why are these knights attacking him? See, I'm questioning myself. I guess, I get to use a teaching moment. This is Socratic, okay? So, yeah, Socrates. I'm having a blast right now. Whipping out the old teaching stuff. Socratic discourse or Socratic method is a means of just asking questions to every answer. We use it a lot in teaching. When the kids when you say, why does it rain? They say, because, precipitation, ice crystals, blah, 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 blah. And you go, well, why do the ice crystals form? And you can see that you're leading them down a path of scaffolded instruction, right? They should be able to respond. So in yours, you're going to be asking yourself questions to really flesh out and develop these side stories to make them something more. Because you could have bandits in the road. Why do they attack him? Because he's a living god. They could probably ransom him for, $9 billion. A lot of money back then. But, or 50 gold or whatever. So they could ransom him. That's easy. It's short. It's compressed. But you're probably not going to get 8 hours out of it. You're probably going to get 4. Assume that your combat is going to take whatever, unless you have a ton of bandits. You're like, no, Jared, I'm talking 50 bandits, like the ninjas, 50 ninjas. Just remember, because I know a lot of side stories revolve around combat. Sometimes your players get bored of rolling dice, unless your players are like, combat is the only thing we live for. Your mage might get bored of, he usually only got 3 or 4 spells. Because I know in D&D, and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong,
they have spell slots, so you only have a certain number of spells you can cast.
After that, he's swinging his freaking staff.
Well, then you're just relying on your cantrips, but it's
cantrip.
It basically that's an unlimited spell pool, but they do very little damage.
So you got to prepare your combat. We've talked about this before. Matching up how much damage somebody can do versus your challenge levels. Okay, so you look into that. We did a whole podcast on that one. How to kind of balance how much damage you're doing versus how much your players can do. Mm-hmm. Make sure that combat's interesting. If you're playing a 4-hour combat, when people die or things get thrown, it better be impactful, because otherwise your players are going to get real bored real fast. So you've got your sectors, and you've got different combat or different conflicts. Maybe you got to get the carriage down a very narrow way. Remember, everybody has to be doing something, okay? You cannot have I'm a Viking warrior. No, you're going to stand on the left side of the carriage to make sure it doesn't go off the rails, to make sure it doesn't go off the cliffside if it goes a little bit to the right. Well, you're going to have to make sure that carriage goes off to the right ones, because the Vikings otherwise just... I'm walking by the side of carriage. And your player has done nothing for the whole scene. But combine that with the dialogue opportunity. The living god asked the Viking, who are you?
I sense great power.
I sense great power. And then he sticks his hand out of the carriage. Touch my gloved hand. What? Your Viking's going to be like, he wants to touch my hand? Opportunities. Your Vikings always, I just beat shit and maim shit. Now a living god wants to touch my hand.
Why?
The hell?
Why?
And your rogue is going to be like, I want to take that glove off. I want to take that glove off. I want to take that glove off. Oh, he's got a side hole in the curtain. Now I can peek through that side hole. Okay, what am I going to do? Maybe the rogue looks through the side curtain and finds the person has a mask on and is completely covered by a robe. A very ornate that's covered in gold and red, and he wears white gloves and has a white mask. Okay, this just got thriller. What is up? I need to see this guy. How are we going to get the mask off the living god? I noticed he's a little short. Have your players be able to talk to each other out of game, in game. That consigliere moment. Hey guys, I noticed the living god's a little short. Yeah, his voice is really deep, but like artificial deep. Move on to stage 3. They're figuring out a mystery as you move on, because it's a side story within your side story. Figuring out who the heck the living god is. Remember, KYP. My players want to know who the living god is. Trust me. Aaron's looking at me right now.
I want to know who the living god is. I want to know it right now, okay? I'm going to beat it out of you when we're done with this podcast.
Don't worry, we'll get to it in stage 4. So, don't worry about it. So notice that we've already developed a story, and because I know my players, Aaron, and I guess I'm pandering to my players, they would want to know who this living god is. Maybe your characters wouldn't give a shit. Your players would not give a hoot. Okay, focus on combat, focus on dice rolling, but try to expand their minds. Try to get them to be like, who the hell is this living god? That's why he reaches out to the Viking.
I rarely believe that any group does not have some desire to understand story and what's going on behind the scenes in the story.
No such thing.
There's no such thing. If you're playing in a role-playing game, it would boggle my mind if you weren't interested in the story.
My question: why would you be there?
Why would
you? Just want to beat stuff. Get on Call of Duty, man. I can pull off brass like nobody's business. Play a video game.
Yeah, there are a lot of other options to be able to just do combat. Now,
Assassin's Creed Valhalla just came out. Come on.
I mean, you might need to hit your players with the answers sometimes, okay, and to drive them in the direction that you want them to go. But if that is how they, derive enjoyment out of the story, meaning that you're giving them stuff, maybe it's through the little subtle dialogue, but maybe the living god slips up and just tells you more than he needs to do. Maybe he just hasn't talked to anyone in a long time.
He hasn't talked to anyone in decades.
Because he's a living god.
Because he's a living god. And what is a tree? What? You've never seen a fucking tree? Yes.
Make it weird.
Make it weird. Make it weird. But notice in the course of this, this wasn't the exact advice we gave Gary because
Well, we're taking it to the next step. We're hitting some of the points here, but this is even more. This is the entire episode. Is how do you make the encounter better?
Exactly. You're make the encounter weird. It's noun switching. Prepare your sectors. Prepare your challenges.
This is your opportunity to give your players a taste of something they don't usually get.
Exactly.
If you always give them the strawberry pie, give them a little bit of rhubarb here.
Strawberry rhubarb.
Well, yes, that's a great combination.
It's a fantastic combination. It is the best pie ever. It is what I want every day, all day.
Or you're just usually give them a pie, give them a Rice Krispie treat.
There you go.
Okay.
See if they like it.
See if they like it. See how they like it. This is your opportunity to find things to be able to give them a different pie in the future.
Exactly, and that's really what it is. It's very much experimenting because in the end, it's one night. If your players walk out of there being like, "Thanks a lot, Aaron. Great story, dude. Got to go to my car." If they're out, it's funny. We talked with the
Dungeon Masters
Dojo. And they said if your players are out in the driveway at 3 a.m. discussing what the hell just happened, that's a good story. Yes, it is. Do they want more Rice Krispie treats if they're doing that after you just did a one night session? They're like, so what do you think about the living god? Was it really real? Blah blah blah. Introduce that punk again.
Side point to this is we haven't talked about the Long Chronicle yet, but we're going to do an episode on it. A side story effectively could be your launch point for a Long Chronicle.
Absolutely.
Okay. This moment, if players find it interesting, is all you need to create your Long Chronicle. Because it could be the driving factor behind everything in your Long Chronicle.
It could be. And the thing is that, and I'm going to get into that in Sector 4. So we've gotten past the mountains. Now we actually come up to the ambush. Okay? The ambush is the knights. It's your combat. Boom. You've already got this set. Locked, ready to go. Because combats are nice. Make sure you got a good battle map for it. Make sure that there's cover. Make sure that you've got your spotlight moments. Your ranger can be his rangerness. Your mage can do his mage stuff. Make sure that everyone has an opportunity to be in the light. Yes, it's a combat. So the Viking and the Paladin are going to be hugely in the spotlight. But make sure everyone's standing in the light. So I'm going to skip past Sector 3. Are we in 3?
3 is the combat. One of the questions I have for you, because one of the things that Gary brought up and I thought of as well, is what if your players decide that they want to run?
Cool. They want to run through all this?
So, well, no. I mean, so you introduce the combat. Bandits, knights, insert your noun, jump out to enter the combat with you. Okay? Your players decide they want to run. Okay? Now, but my intention is I really want them to fight.
I cheat. I'm going to cheat. One of those knights takes his lance and throws it and majestically hits a 17. gets it in the goddamn wheel of the carriage. The wheel now breaks. Guess what, guys? Ain't no running from that. The living god can't be seen. You can't just rip him out of the carriage and be like, get on my shoulders. No, you can't. Now you have to defend the carriage. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to make sure you stay there for that combat. I'm going to make sure that they... Oh my god, I'm flipping back to this. Your lumberjack has come up against another fallen tree. Because that's actually how you would do ambushes for large convoys back then, is you would actually fell a tree, because you can't just get a carriage through the woods. It's simple and it's effective. Yes, it tells your enemy there's a trap coming. You know, maybe, I don't know, they tied a line, a giant line of, or chain. They've chained it to 2 trees. So the carriage can't get past. Because carriages, you can't just meander them through the woods. They're huge. Okay, you need a designated trail. Whatever you have to do. Maybe they dug out something ahead of the carriage so they knew that the carriage would get sunk in. How are you going to get this carriage across? Well, it's going to take time.
So boom, we have your encounter goes off that hitch. Phase 3 happens. What happens next?
Phase 4, we get to the city of Kalala. We get to the city of Kalala. Okay, we've gotten there. This is our last opportunity to see the prince. Hopefully you've put enough hooks in your players where they're like, oh my god, I gotta know about this guy. So there's the transport. But we knew it was the city guard. Right now, your team has to have enough evidence to beat the crap out of the Magister. Okay, they need to have substantial evidence for an ass whooping of epic Sector 4's conflict. Of course, the Magister's got his own personal guard. Next, the Magister's going to be like, oh my god, they came. Remember, he has to react. He can't just be like, oh, you made it, good day, and act like everything's cool. He tried to kill a living god. And you guys arrived. He hired like 50 freaking ninjas or knights or whatever to murder this guy. One, I'm out of pocket a lot of money for nothing. Okay, 2, what if those knights talked? What's the emotional reaction of your NPC? NPCs have to react to things. Trust me, and I'm talking about leveling up your storyteller, because when I was younger, that NPC would be like, very good, thank you for transporting this living god. Wouldn't sweat it, nothing. He'd act like nothing has happened. BS. If I tried to have someone murked and they showed up, oh my god,
you'd be sweating bullets.
Alright? I sweat bullets when the cops fucking pull me over for speeding. Why? Because I'm afraid they're going to arrest me for something. I don't know what, but they're going to do it. And it's funny because, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that you're going to be sweating bullets. Like I said, when cops get behind me, my butthole clenches. Because they're going to give me a ticket for $50 for something. I don't know what, but they're going to give it to me. Someone just pulled up that I ordered murked. I ordered his death. Oh crap, is this going to be an ass whooping, or am I about to get hanged? Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. He's going to be sweating bullets. Maybe the minute that carriage rolls into town, he's like, so I got 3 bodyguards. I don't know if they can take these mercs, but hey guys, kill them. Bam, second combat. What? I thought the scope only said 1 combat. By questioning ourselves, by developing our NPCs, by being better storytellers, masters of ceremonies, we say, what is that reaction? His reaction is panic and ordering those mercenaries, his personal guard take on those mercenaries. And we had a second combat. We've expanded our scope, but we've expanded it for the right reasons. Now, during the combat, one thing that I want to have happen is that I want to make sure that my players find out a little about the living god. Maybe they open the door. Because their job is not to kill the mercenaries. It's to kill the goddamn living god in the carriage. So while 2 of the personal guard are fighting our mercenaries, one of them is going straight for that door. And he is opening it up. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to make sure that door is opened. Okay, I am going to cheat.
There's a fourth bodyguard you didn't see.
You didn't see him. Well, I prefer not to do the you didn't see. I prefer to cheat. I'm a cheater.
Well, I mean, that's sort of, so let's say somebody intercepts, you've got 3 bodyguards. Somebody intercepts the 3rd bodyguard.
Actually, I rolled natural 20. Natty 20.
Oh, touche.
As you trip, as your monk trips up my bodyguard. I roll a natty 20 on my athletics roll. I don't know what the jump.
Yeah, sure, that works.
I roll a natty 20 on my jump roll. Bam, get that handle. Kobe! The door is opened. And the rest of the fight goes out. Maybe you're in Monk's like, I immediately go to the door, but you stop that combat. Prep that dialogue. Because I knew ahead of time. And Gary, if you're listening, steal this. Take it. Bam. Run with it. God bless you. You stop that combat, guys. You hear that latch click. Have music prepped. Boom. The door is open. Tom, what's your reaction? Oh shit! I'm Tom the Viking. I'm taking on a knight right now. I slaughtered the knight in front of me. Okay, cool. The paladin. I turn and look. I wasn't expecting Tom the Paladin to be the one who was going to turn and look. You see the living God in the doorway, his mask, his cloak, his gloved hands. He's in the doorway. He's stepping. He's in. Why would he do that? I don't know. Maybe the guy's never seen a fucking tree.
Avert your eyes. He'll incinerate the town.
Avert your eyes. Somebody does something. Maybe the rest of the town suddenly bows to its freaking knees because it's in the presence of a living God. I don't know. Come up, be creative, make it an epic freaking moment. Maybe your monk's like, I take my staff and I slam that door closed right in the living God's face. Why? Because I believe that he might incinerate the town. I don't know what the living God does. Although the monk's action, remember, you control the choices. He goes to slam that door, he hears a thump and a ow. Gods don't go ow. Now your rogue's opportunity. The door's been open once. I've already seen his thing. I'm going to check to see if he's okay. It's your rogue's opportunity to be a rogue. And to be that funny, I don't know, what's that term? The halfling kender who's always stealing shit. Well, this is my opportunity. I got to go check to see if he's okay. I heard an ow. Or I heard a ah. I open up the door to check he's okay. Bam, the mask is off. He's covering his face. Cleric, he's been injured. He's covering his face. He's screaming. The cleric runs over. I gotta see the damage. You gotta see the wound. I take his hands away from his face as a 12-year-old girl. Hasn't been living millennia. Maybe the mask changed the voice. It has a spell in it. Now your magician can look it over. They've been keeping this 12-year-old girl as a living god because she was born to her mother, who was the first living god. Her mother's been dead for, 5 years. She's been living alone, never seen a tree. Moral conundrum. Do we put the mask back on? Do we hand her over? Do we have a discussion with her? We slaughtered the rest of the bodyguards. Okay, there's a fight going on outside. They're all dead now. Now we get to go beat ass on the Magister. Maybe we complete the handoff. So prep your scene. They kill them. They kill the personal guards. We get the mask back on the kid. I'm going to let that up to player choice. I'm going to let them decide what they want to do with that. But either way, the handoff has to be done because Kalala is still expecting their new living god. So she still has to be transported. Moral conundrum. Do we let this little girl go? Live, little girl, as a peasant beggar, just because that's essentially what would happen to you, because you got to stay a little realistic. She's used to sitting in finery. She doesn't even know how to beg. Mm-hmm. Please, sir, may I have some more? Am I doing this right? Other story for a different time. I've begged for money. I know how to beg. The trick is to sing. That's how I made money. So one of the things is that they go beat the Magister's ass. Bam. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know. Maybe they kill him. Maybe he kills himself. Maybe he jumps out a window because he just tried to have a living god killed. And the city of Kalala has been expecting their living god for some time now. They're gonna kill him. Maybe you guys are like, all right, we've shackled him up. He's now arrested. Here's the evidence, and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna hang him because he tried to kill our living god. Oh, okay then. However you want them to deal with the Magister, have them deal that way. But you gotta have the scene where they talk to the living god. Because you've had the moral conundrum. You found out it's a 12-year-old girl. Do they force her into their role? Because right now she has a world of opportunity. Think about Kalala. Their political atmosphere. They have received their living god that they've been waiting for years, but are you going to subject a 12-year-old girl to be that living god? You've now upped the level of play. What it was bandits. We started with bandits. We're now ending with a moral conundrum of, do we allow a lie for a whole city's stability? Now, your players, the living god will make their choice. I will stay for the stability. I will, I must do this for the people. We've taught our lesson. We've hit our goal. We had our one night. Oh, my players, there, Aaron. You found out who. You don't have to beat me up after this podcast. You now know the living God. But now your players, and notice that we've done this through mostly Socratic method. We did some noun switching and some Socratic method. We asked ourselves why. So our players are out in the driveway. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. They're discussing, oh my god, that was the greatest thing fucking ever. You couldn't get them out of your house despite the fact that your wife was like, shut the fuck up. Like, guys, you gotta go. They're like, Jared, that was so fucking cool. Oh my god, the living god. Are we gonna deal with the living god again? Are we gonna deal with Susan, the living god? I don't know what her name is. Susan, the living god. Now that's a title. So we get them out the door, and they're like, those guys loved that NPC. There's going to be a part of you that's like, yes, my long chronicle is going to be based off of Susan, the living god. They're going to go work for Susan. You are going to be so tempted to be like, next week, Susan's calling them back. No. This was a side story. They still have the story to complete. Get them back to the original story while you take that time to develop the living god storyline. Because she is going to call on them once again. Why? She trusts them. At the time of peril, they're the only humans who've ever seen her and not burst into flames, which she doesn't know why you didn't. Why? Wait a second. I was informed that should I see someone, they are to immediately burst into flames.
This is part of the user manual. I don't understand why you didn't burst into flames.
Clearly, you are my destined people. Clearly, you are my destined guardians because you did not burst into flames when you saw me. So I'm going to make sure that you keep doing what I need you to do. Kalala is a very politically, connected city. It's a trade port or whatever, and there's a lot of problems there. Now I'm developing my next story after this one. So I'm going to send my players off. They got to go defeat that story. They got to go defeat the evil wizard that I think we talked about 70 podcasts ago, who has the woman up in the tower.
Yeah.
We still got to finish that one. But while they're finishing that one, I'm going to do my maintenance on that one, and I'm going to start developing on my next one. And I'm going to be better, do better, because I have so much time. I'm not waiting to the end of story A to start developing story B. They've got like 6 more months of story A. Right now, I'm in this situation. And this is the best situation to be in because, oh my god, you're not under the clock. I've got story A going on. I'm going to make story B.
As a callback to how Jared did this, I mean, you maybe didn't develop this ahead of time. You might have. I don't remember if you did. But in our long chronicle Elders, we ended up going to Indiana as part of it. That became a side story because of a player choice. And from that player choice, later in the game, spawned another story.
Yes.
So the decision to do something with a side story spawned a major chapter in the long chronicle.
Totally point.
And so this is exactly what you can have here, which is you don't need to follow up immediately.
No.
You will come back to it in the later chapter.
Let the anticipation grow. It's much better. Because it's so much better that they defeat the evil wizard, give them maybe one session of like, what do we do after we defeat the evil wizard? We have our own, blah, blah, blah now. We have so much gold, and the princess kissed me. It was awesome. Oh, you guys are out there living up the dream because the princess kissed me. I can now live in this city freely, and we have lots of money, and I don't know, going to the tavern every night and enjoying our life. When the messenger comes saying, I have a message from the living God. What? Back to Kalala we go. And starting your second chapter, your next chapter. And it was all based off of a little side story. And all you have to do is remember sectors, because we're building a small little game, so we need conflict every part of the road. Noun switching, Socratic method. If I could hand you a tool that I have used so many times to increase my story, Socratic method. Ask yourself questions about everything. Why did the knights want to kill the living god? Led us to the Magister being evil. The Magisters, blah, blah, blah. City of Kalala. All that was through Socratic method of asking ourselves tiny little questions. Why do the knights want to kill the living god? Our Magister. And then we built this whole story over a course of, I don't know, what are we at right now, Aaron? 38 some odd minutes?
More like 44.
44 minutes. We built a saga off of Socratic method. So that's really how you can level up your gaming. It's really how you can level up your storytelling. Noun switching, Socratic method. Kaboom.
That's it. Anything else for me there, Jared?
The living god. No, I just wanted to say that. Susan, the living god.
Susan, the living god. Well, so you put that one in your pocket, take it across state lines. Susan, the living god.
Wyoming, I'm looking at you. I don't know why I'm looking at Wyoming. It's a beautiful state.
Well, hopefully we got some listeners out there. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode. Gary, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful to you, and I hope it was helpful to everybody else. I think it was very detailed in terms of how you can improve that encounter. But if you do like the episode, if you do like the podcast, please subscribe, review it on your favorite podcast site. Follow us on Facebook.com/levelupyourgaming. You can send us your questions if you want your questions about how to improve your encounter, improve whatever you end up doing. You've got a question about your game. Please send it to us, levelupyourgamingpodcast@gmail.com. Also share it with your friends, anybody else who enjoys gaming, who might enjoy the podcast, or even players alike, because it's not just for GMs but also players.
Players see behind the curtain. Maybe they'll take a chance.
And we do have these on YouTube. So Jared,
smash that like button. Smash it.
Thank you. And that's gonna wrap us up for today. So for Jared, I'm Aaron. Have a great week, guys.
Have a great week, everyone.